So today we are going to discuss behavioral approach. Now this behavioral approach, this origin of this behavioral approach can be traced to the frustration that was felt with the normative and mechanistic models that were developed with the help of quantitative techniques. In geography, with the evolution of quantitative techniques, the methodology of statistics, methods of mathematics, they were deployed. As a result, numerous mechanistic and normative models were made. Now, the origin of behavioralism is traced to the frustration that was felt with these normative and mechanistic models. Now, what was the limitation of these models? See, these models are grossly unrealistic. That is, these models do not replicate the real world complexities. These normative models, as I discussed in the first topic, these models ignore the real world complexities. For example, normative models believe in isotropic surface. They take man as rational and economic. All men are not rational and economic, and neither the surface is isotropic. So the behavioral approach negated these normative and mechanistic models, because these models reduced the real world complexities, and as a result these models represented unrealistic world. They were grossly unrealistic. Whereas behavioral approach, it emphasized on study of individuals' behavior. So it was the unrealistic approach of normative and mechanistic model that led to the growth of behavioral approach. Now, behavioral approach, this approach is inductive. That is, it builds up general information on the basis of ongoing observation. Behavioral approach, as such, it is inductive. It follows inductive approach. In the first topic I told you, there are two approaches for theory building. One is inductive, the other is deductive. In inductive approach, what do we do? Basically, in inductive approach is scientific approach, where you go and observe a phenomena, then you again go to another place and observe the phenomena. On the basis of each observation, you draw certain conclusion, and those conclusions that are drawn on each observation, and these conclusions are generalized into general statements. So inductive approach is more scientific, and behavioral approach, it follows inductive approach. It aims to build general statements on the basis of ongoing observation. Now, what is the core of behavioralism? What is the central idea behind behavioralism? Now, this approach states that the way any person behaves, or the way a person takes a decision, it all depends upon his understanding of the environment in which he lives. The central idea or the core of behavioralist approach is the way a person behaves or the way a person takes a decision is determined by his understanding of the environment in which he lives. Now, let us discuss the salient features of behavioralism. Salient features. The core essence is what? That we have discussed. The way a person behaves depends upon his understanding of the environment in which he lives. Now, this is the core of behavioralism. Now, when we discuss the salient features, we will see how basically the behavioralism has been studied and what are the salient features of behavioralism. Now, first, behavioral approach believes in dual character of environment. Behavioral approach believes in dual character of environment. That is, environment is said to be having dual character. According to this approach, there are two types of environment. Objective environment. Second is behavioral environment. According to behavioral approach, there are two types of environment, or it believes in duality of environment. Objective environment is the world of reality. World of actuality. Objective environment is world of actuality. And behavioral environment is world of mind. That is, whatever a phenomena is taking place, that actual phenomena is world of reality. And when a person sees a phenomena, he will always formulate an image of that phenomena in his mind. That is, the reality as perceived by a person in his mind, that mental image is known as behavioral environment. For every real phenomena, whenever you see a phenomena, you always make an image of that phenomena, whether it is lightning, or it is rainfall, or it is a war, or it is love. Whenever you see it, you make an image of every event, every phenomena into your mind. The real phenomena is objective environment, and the image that you make in your mind, that is behavioral environment. Behavioral environment is said to be reality as perceived by mind. So these two are different. World of actuality is different, and the image of that actuality or that reality that you make up in your mind is known as behavioral environment. Behavioral environment is reality as perceived by man. Reality as perceived by man in his mind. Now the behavioral approach believes that most of the decisions of man are influenced by behavioral environment. The decision that a man takes, it is never based on reality. Rather, they are always based on the perception of reality by man. That is, reality is something different. What image, what you believe about that reality, what image you have formulated about the reality, that image that you have formulated in your mind, that determines the decision taken by man. Man always takes decision on the basis of his behavioral environment. That is, on the basis of the reality perceived by him. Now, this was the first salient feature. Second salient feature of this approach is behavioral approach is not against theory and model building. Behavioral approach is not against theory building or model building, but it is against the static and mechanistic models that are formulated by using normative and this mechanistic approach. Behavioral approach is not against theory building, rather it is against the static and mechanistic models that are formulated with the use of this quantitative techniques. Basically, it favors behavioral model. But in behavioral geography, the limitation is that instead of emphasizing on groups, behavioral approach emphasizes on individuals. Now, the problem with behavioral model is that it is impossible to study and know the behavior of each and every individual. Therefore, this behavioral approach does not facilitate model building. It is not against model building. Rather, what it requires, behavioral approach is not against model building. Rather, basically, it is against statistic and mechanistic models. Behavioral approach and what is the problem with model building in behavioralism? That is, behavioral approach does not emphasize on groups, rather it emphasizes on individuals, and it is impossible to know about the behavior of each and every individual. Therefore, the model building in behavioralism becomes difficult. This is the second salient approach, salient feature. Now, third, behavioral approach postulates mutually interacting relationship between man and environment. Behavioral approach postulates a mutually interacting relationship between man and environment, whereby man influences the environment and is subsequently influenced by it. Behavioral approach postulates a mutually interacting relationship between man and environment, where man influences the environment and subsequently man is influenced by environment. How? See, for example, here the core is mutually interacting relationship between man and environment, and man is influencing the environment and is subsequently getting influenced by it. Man influenced the environment and is subsequently getting influenced by it. How? See, first of all, whenever any event or phenomena takes place, we always make a mental image of that phenomena or event into our mind. Now, man is influencing the environment how? By giving a definite shape to that real event in his mind. Man is giving shape to environment. Man is influencing the environment. That is, any event is given a definite shape in his mind. That is, man is influencing the environment by way of imparting the real event a particular shape in his mind. And the image that he makes in his mind, that image determines nature of the image, determines the action taken by man. That is, the environmental image is subsequently influencing the man. Are you getting this? This shows how basically man and environment mutually interacting relationship between man and environment. That is, man is influencing the environment and he is subsequently getting influenced by environment. How? Man is influencing the environment by way of formulating a particular type of image of environment in his mind. So man is giving a shape to the environment, and that image of that environment is subsequently determining the action that will be taken by man. That is, environment is influencing the man. This is the third salient feature. Fourth, this behavioral approach incorporates multidisciplinary approach. It involves multidisciplinary approach, that is, theories and ideas have been incorporated from various fields. Psychiatry, philosophy, sociology, history, from all those fields, the theories and ideas have been incorporated in behavioral geography. But an important limitation is that this field, behavioral approach itself, lacks theories and ideas of its own. There is lack of theories and ideas of its own. So this was about the salient features of behavioralism or behavioral approach. Now let us discuss the historical evolution of this approach, how this approach evolved, and ultimately now it has become a distinct section of geography. Historical evolution of behavioral approach. Now, the origin of behavioralism can be traced to the time of Immanuel Kant. The origin of behavioralism can be traced to the time of Kant. Now, in fact, Immanuel Kant is said to be the philosophical father of geography. The entire history of geography itself can be divided into two parts. Geography before Kant, geography after Kant. Now, if you see the contribution, first scholar to contribute towards behavioralism can be said to be Immanuel Kant. Now, in modern times, it was Wright. In 1947, it was Wright who emphasized on behavioral approach for study of man-environment relationship. In modern times, we can cite the example of Wright. It was Wright who emphasized on behavioral approach for the study of man-environment relationship in 1947. Subsequent to Wright, it was Kirk. In 1952, it was Kirk who supplied one of the first models of behavioralism. It was Kirk who supplied one of the first model of behavioralism, and where he stated in this model, he has stated that basically the same piece of information is interpreted differently by different people belonging to different socio-economic cultural backgrounds living in same geographical setting. Very interesting. It was Kirk who provided the first behavioral model, one of the first behavioral model, where he stated that the same piece of information has different meaning for the people living in same geographical region who belong to different socio-economic cultural background. That is, people from different cultural economic backgrounds interpret the same piece of information differently. That is, the same event is having different images, in the minds of people belonging to different socio-economic cultural backgrounds. Now after Kip, then came Boulding. He supplied one of the conventional man-environment model for behavioral approach. He supplied one of the conventional model for behavioral approach. Boulding said that over the period of time, when we regularly interact with the environment, we always develop an image of every object present in the environment. And whatever decision we take is not based on reality. It is always based on the image that we have already built up in our mind. For example, suppose we interact daily with our friends. We have a specific image of every person in our mind. Now one fine morning, you have a fight with your friend. That fight, if you rationally analyze, is not based on the actual event. Rather, you have already been developing grudges against that person. You keep on developing grudges, and one fine morning a slight event can trigger the fight. The fight is not the result of the event that has taken place that day. Rather, it is the result of the accumulated images that you have been building up over the period of time. Very good. This is true. Boulding says that no decision, the decisions that man take are not actually based on the real happening or the real event. Rather, the decisions are the result of the developmental impressions or images that we keep on making in our mind over the period of time. Over the period of time, we keep on building up images of every person, every event. And it is on the basis of these images that we take the decisions. Decisions are never based on reality. Rather, they are always based on the images that we have already formulated in our mind. After Boulding, the next significant development came with Porteous. Porteous gave a complex, he gave a threefold classification of environment. He said environment is of three types. One is phenomenal environment, second is personal environment, and third is contextual environment. Contextual environment. Now here Porteous used phenomenal environment, that is for real environment or world of reality or world of actuality. He used the word phenomenal environment to depict real environment or world of reality. Personal environment, that is behavioral environment. So these two are previously existing. We know this approach believes in duality of environment. That is, this is object. Phenomenal environment actually means objective environment. Personal environment, use the word for behavioral environment, that is world of mind. Contextual environment refers to cultural environment. That is cultural influence on man. Now these three environments are not segregated, rather they are interrelated with each other. What he says, that the culture in which a person has been brought up, this culture has profound impact on the behavior and the perception of man. For example, if a person has been brought up in an open and progressive culture, on the other hand, the other person has been brought up in orthodox and conservative culture, the same event will be interpreted differently by the two persons. The same phenomena will have different types of images in the mind of these two persons. That means it is the contextual environment or the culture in which a person is brought up that determines the nature of personal environment. It is the culture where the person is brought up. This determines what type of image will be formulated in the mind of person. And it is this personal environment or behavioral environment that gives shape to real environment. Are you getting this? Yes? Yes? See, the way we have been brought up, the culture in which we have been brought up, that gives a definite shape to our personality. If a person has been brought up in a progressive, open environment and the other person has been brought up in an orthodox, conservative environment, both the person will make different types of images for a same phenomena, for the same event. Their images in the mind would be different. So this personal environment is influenced by contextual environment. Personal environment means the type of image that is being made in the mind. Personal environment is behavioral environment. That is the image that is made in the mind. This nature of this image is affected by contextual environment. And it is this image that is influencing the real environment. If a person is progressive, positive, he will always make a very positive and progressive image of the events and phenomena. And this type of image is affected by contextual environment. So all three are interrelated. So he said there are three types of environment. Contextual environment affecting the personal environment and the personal environment in turn affecting the phenomenal environment. Yes, any doubt? Sixth, now Sonner's field. Sonner's field gave four-fold classification of environment, even larger than Porteous. Sonner's field said there are four types of environment. First, geographical environment. Second, operational environment. Third, perceptual environment. And fourth, behavioral environment. Now Sonner's field said that there are four types of environment. Porteous divided them into three categories. Sonner's field has divided the environment into four types. He says geographical environment means the world, the entire world. That is geographical environment. Now suppose this entire world is geographical environment. Now here in this classroom I am giving the lecture. This is a part of the world. Operational environment is that part of geographical environment which impacts upon a person whether the person is aware of it or not. Now operational environment, suppose I am giving lecture in this classroom. The environment of this classroom is impacting on me, right? So this environment of this classroom is operational environment that is impacting on me. Suppose heavy rainfall takes place outside, that will not impact me. Are you getting it? Heavy sunshine outside, that is not going to impact me. The geographical environment is entire world. Then that part of the world which is affecting a person is called operational environment, which is operating on it. Operational environment is that part of the world which is impacting or affecting a person, whether the person is aware of it or not. Suppose this entire environment of this room is impacting me. It is an operational environment. I am not being impacted by anything outside, but the environment of this room is impacting me. But I am not aware of the entire operational environment. What is going on behind me is not, I am unaware of that. That is, operational environment is that part of geographical environment which impacts upon a person, whether a person is aware of it or not. For example, the environment of this room is impacting me, but I am not aware of what is going on at my back. So this entire environment is operational environment. Perceptual environment, this is that part of operational environment about which a person is aware of. That is, perceptual environment is that part of operational environment about which a person is aware. For example, the environment of this entire room is operational environment, right? But I am not aware what is going on at my back. The part of operational environment of which I am aware of, that part of operational environment is known as perceptual environment. So perceptual environment is that part of operation environment about which a person is aware. For example, the operation environment is the entire room impacting on me, but I am only aware of what is going on my front. So this front part of operation environment becomes perceptual environment. That is about which I am having the perception. Now, behavioral environment is that part of perceptual environment that elicits decision on my part. For example, this is the perceptual environment. Somebody comes down of the stairs having a knife in his hand. What will I do? I will immediately run away and hide below the table. Are you getting this? This behavioral environment is that part of perceptual environment which elicits a basically decision on the part of person. Suppose some event or phenomena within this perceptual environment will force me to take some decision. That is, behavioral environment is a part of perceptual environment that forces a person to take decision. All are subset of the other. Geographical environment is largest. Within geographical environment lies the operational environment. Within operational environment lies the perceptual environment. Within perceptual environment lies the behavioral environment. Now, geographical environment means the entire world. Operational environment means that part of the world which is impacting a person. Suppose the environment of this room which is impacting on me. Perceptual environment means that part of operational environment about which a person is aware. For example, this entire operational environment is impacting me, but I am aware only of the frontal part. So the front part of operational environment will become perceptual environment. Behavioral environment is that part of perceptual environment which elicits a decision on my part. That is this perceptual environment about which I am aware of. Within this, some event or a phenomena will force me to take decision. That particular phenomena has been termed as behavioral environment. Now, this behavioral approach has given the man his due place as a thinking individual having the capacity to take decision. The behavioral approach says man is not a machine. Man is not machine, and man can never be always rational. Man is always having limited rationality and limited knowledge, as put forward by Alfred Pred in his behavioral matrix. That is, every person cannot have entire information, nor he can have the perfect ability to use every information. So man often takes suboptimal decisions. That is, at times his decisions are not influenced by economics, rather by his satisfaction. So therefore we say man is not always optimizer. He is mostly satisfier. Man runs after satisfaction, not always after optimizing his profits. Now this behavioral approach helps us in understanding that why people take certain decisions at certain point of time. In fact, this behavioral approach has helped in understanding the psychosomatic analysis. Behavioral approach has imparted a huge contribution in psychiatry. In fact, psychiatry owes a lot to behavioral approach. It has helped in understanding the psychosomatic analysis. You might have heard about narco test. Narco test, people speak truth. Why? Basically, whenever we speak anything, we always make a mental image before speaking. Our mind understands only in images. This is the concept of behavioral geography. Behavioral geography has said we always make an image, and that image determines our decision. Now in psychosomatic analysis, basically in narco test, what do they do? They give the sedatives. Under the impact of sedative, a person is not able to make image. Suppose I have committed a murder, and suppose police is investigating me, and if I want to say false, I will have to create a story and I have to create an image in my mind. But under the narco test, basically they give a sedative, I am unable to make a false story. I will speak what it is there in my mind, because I cannot make the mental image. It is the contribution of behavioral geography which says that it is on the basis of image that we talk or we take decisions. If a person is unable to make the image, he will say what is there in his mind. He cannot basically say false. He cannot basically make the person if you are, suppose you are having a particular image and that image is already existing, what you have done, whatever you have done, that image is existing. But if you tries to say false, then you will have to rebuild the image. But under the impact of narco test, your image building capacity disappears. So you say whatever is true, whatever is there in your mind. So this approach, behavioral approach, has huge contribution in psychiatry. But there are certain limitations. There are certain limitations of this approach. First, in behavioral approach, the concepts are loosely defined and terms are loosely integrated. Theories and ideas are limited. So in behavioral geography, the concepts and terminology are loosely defined and poorly integrated, and it lacks a theoretical base of its own. First, this is the first limitation. It lacks theoretical base of its own, and theories, concepts are loosely defined and poorly integrated. Second limitation is, in behavioral approach, they conduct experiment on animals in laboratories, and on the basis of the behavior of animals, they apply the same findings to man. That is, in laboratory they are conducting experiments on animal, and the findings are directly being applied to man, and that is known as ratomorphic view of man. Man is not a rat. They are conducting experiments on animals, rats, and the findings are being directly applied to man. That is called ratomorphic view of man. Second limitation. Now third limitation, and it is a huge, and this third limitation has struck directly on the basics of this behavioral approach. In behavioral approach, there is a firm conviction that there exists identifiable environmental image in mind, which can be exactly measured. In behavioral approach, the basic premise of behavioral approach is that there always exists an identifiable environmental image in mind which can be exactly measured. Now, this premise means whatever event or phenomena takes place in this world, every person always makes image of every event or every phenomena that is taking place in the world. Its image is being made by every person. Those images are different, but images are being made. Now the critics say that according to behavioral approach, our decisions are always based on the images that we have made over the period of time of interaction with the environment. With the interaction of environment, we have built a definite image, and on the basis of that image, we are behaving. Now the critic says the regular decision that we take on the basis of the images that we have made over the period of time, this we have to extract something. When we take decision on the basis of image, what we do? We extract something. Now the critic says, will it not distort the totality of mental imagery? When you extract something, something is subtracted, and the image will also undergo change. The critic says, when you extract something from the established pattern of images, this regular decision which are based on images, decision means you are extracting something from an image. This extraction, will it not distort the totality of images? Every time you are taking decision on the basis of those mental concepts or mental maps, you are extracting something from your mind. This extraction should also introduce distortion in the images. That is what the critic says. The critic says, if you are drawing something from the totality of your image, if you are taking decision means you are drawing something. When you are drawing something from the totality of your image, then there should be some distortion in the nature of images. And every decision, therefore, should not be same. Because every time you withdraw something, when you take decision, you withdraw something from the image. So the next decision should be different from the previous decision, because some distortion should creep into your images. Now, the last criticism, that is, behavioral approach believes that there is a strong congruence between the image and the real world behavior. Behavioral geography says that the real world behavior of a man is strongly influenced by the image that he formulates in his mind. Now the critic says that extremely less research has been conducted on this issue, that there exists a strong congruence between the mental image and the real world behavior. The critic says much more research is required to establish a firm congruence or relationship between the image and real world behavior. So this was all about behavioral approach. It's a very fundamental approach and has contributed a lot to various fields, especially psychiatry. That's it.